Oh, there's a countdown on the screen. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes, and we
It
are
says we're
live.
live. We'll stall for time while I get the links up and people see the link and come in. Still refreshing your page. There we go. I see it. Quote. We're live now. Join us.
Today is the big day.
Yes, it is. Fed FOMC announcement day on the overnight changes in the overnight lending rate. And what I keep hearing is that people it was like 65% of traders are looking for a 50% basis point cut, and the rest are looking for 25% basis points cut. I don't know. What do you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, probably. I'm thinking more like a 50, but we'll see.
Ooh, so you're thinking 50 also?
Yeah.
I think 50 would really be bullish. I think 25 people would say, "Oh no, but we priced in a 50 and stuff could go down." Everything I'm looking at, the market's being really coy about. The SPX made a teeny tiny, just like towed the line slightly higher yesterday, and it's just not it's staying close to the all-time high.
Yeah.
That looks, if that's all we got, that's suspiciously looks like a double top. But if all they do is like really throw across that line, go higher, and suddenly we're in a run up.
Yeah. I mean, still on the daily chart, they can send things much lower here. Just looking at this, send it back down to 553 at SPY if they wanted to. That would be a 10-point drop. I mean, it looks like nothing on this chart, but 10 points feels pretty panicky for a lot of people, right? So that could be a possibility, or they could just shoot it into all-time highs too. But it's anybody's game. But either way, it's still bullish. Send it lower, bullish. Send it higher, bullish. It's still bullish.
Yeah. Any pullback that we would see, I would still be looking for it to be a pullback to a higher low, just to fake people out, and then start to run up.
Which it is set up perfectly for that on a day-to-day basis. So yeah.
I love this new. You turned on the line labels for your Ichimoku, so
Yeah,
people can
it
see
just I did
exactly
it
which one is
I did it
which.
for my Patreon just so people don't get confused on these. Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So when the
And
conversion line is over the baseline, that's bullish,
yeah,
and that's where we
and
are
it had
now.
that cross way back here on the 19th, right here. Yeah. And let's see, let's look at the QQQ this morning too. So that is looking like, let's see, 474. I think that's up $1.24 pre-market. So it's kind of like the same situation as yesterday. Things are up pre-market, but will it stay up for throughout the day? That's the question. And still, this has the possibility to going down to its daily support around 466, or even a little bit lower, 463, which would also be a 10-point drop as well for a possible back test of the cloud, which would still not be a bearish thing either. It would just be a breakout back test for a possible continuation higher. So either way, it's things are set up to go higher and they're set up to go lower. So this is a perfect setup for volatility.
Yes, volatility and volatility does seem to be on the rise. If you throw to me, I'll pull up the VIX chart that I was drawing yesterday.
Yeah. I don't see your chart.
Oh no, did I lose my it's called tracker video. Oh wait, that's because I didn't share the screen. That's my
Yeah,
fault.
you gotta share the screen first.
I missed it. I missed a step. Sorry about that.
Okay. All
All
right,
right,
there
there
we
we
go.
go. Yep, I see.
Yeah.
So I basically just did if we get a 5-wave extension off this low, this high, and this higher low, and it perfectly predicted, well, not perfectly predicted. I was actually looking for a 764 wave one. Then it went almost to the 100% instead. Then pulled back to the 50%. So from that, I'm throwing to a 150%. So now I've got to kind of pull these out over time. I can kind of like see this. Of course, this is overnight, so it looks kind of flat overnight. But we've got kind of this trajectory. I'm looking for 18.86 next for the VIX. Looking for a rising VIX. If it stops and we get it's just 3 waves up, it'll stop at 1886 and then reverse. But if we get 5 waves up, it will go as high as 1993, which is still not anywhere near as high as September 11th, or I can't read this thing. Where's August 5th? It's way. August 5th is up way up here. that was a crazy day. I can't even see it. It spiked up to 65. So
65, yeah.
this would be like a third of that. Only in the 20s. Just even less volatility than we had last Friday.
Yeah, and there's a question here right there. They're rewatching from the beginning. 50 basis points would be shitty, no? I don't know. I think initially it could be. It could be bad. Like, oh, they messed up and they have to basically cut more than expected because the economy is bad. But no, the economy isn't bad. So I think initially it could spark some kind of sell off, but anything could. Even a 25 could. Even like whatever they say is going to like just create volatility. So it doesn't really matter. But I think what is important that if it is 50, that's really going to help out a lot of small caps. It's going to help out IWM the most, and also growth stocks as well. So maybe you'll see some volatility in there, but in the longer term, it's going to make those stocks go up more and more. So I think it's just all, I don't know. It's just basically news narratives that kind of put that in our brains that, yeah, 50 would be bad, but only if the economy is in a bad spot. And right now it's not. So
yeah, it's so funny. We were talking about this last night. We don't really believe that we even need an FOMC, but it's there to protect the banking system. And yeah, a lot of times they just become bottlenecks in time. We get these starts and stops. Everyone has to hit the brakes and wait to see what the FOMC is going to say. But then after the announcement comes out, everyone just does what they're already doing anyway. So we'll just kind of see everything kind of like everyone will hold their breath. Like you can see overnight, prices didn't move. Just they only move sideways everywhere, and we're just holding our breath and waiting for whatever comes out at 2, and then whatever Powell says at 2:30, and then yeah, and then we'll get what we're going to get. I know Real Blonde Broker is looking for example, Tesla. I got here. Let me show a bigger scale chart.
yeah, we can go to Tesla.
Yeah, I'm just going to show real quick here. There is a daily price gap higher that never got filled. I'm not going to see it like this. I know, clean. Right here. There's sort of a, no, that's not it. Oh, right here. So this gap from 225, well, we've already filled up this high. So from 235 up to 246. RBB would love to see price run up to there. Come here, you. Like to see price go like that, and then bounce off it, and then come back down again. And so she's wanting to trade this volatility. I think it's possible we could get a different color. Oops, no, wait, I gotta change the new one. Fighting with my controls here. But we could get maybe it goes down again to the top of this 3-year long consolidation triangle, and then goes up. So we're gonna get a mirror image one way or the other. I'll color this one. No, I don't want that. Blue's my favorite color. Oh, and of course I did it like that. So either green or blue. And I'm just, like I said, I moved to like 50% cash. My whole portfolio is half cash now, and I'll either buy when it breaks, Tesla breaks above 235, or if it starts to just go down and down and down, I'll start buying at different support levels, starting with 220, then 212, and then 200. If it goes any lower than 200, I'll just blow all my cash somewhere in the 182 range. Right here, we get a double bottom if it hit 182 again, because that was the low we got here August 5th. We probably won't get that low, and Matt's going to tell you exactly why next.
Yeah, I'll pull up my chart. But first, I just wanted to cover the IWM real quickly and
Yes,
just
please.
show that it is just flat, basically, and still has the opportunity to go back down to the 212 zone as well to backtest that weekly support right there. And that's really what I'm focused on with IWM. It's just maintaining the weekly support, so it can go down there. It's okay. But yeah, everything is in the range where it can keep going higher or go lower, and either way, it's going to be bullish. So that's why it's called volatility, right? Because it could go either way.
Yep.
And essentially, going to my Tesla chart here. Yeah, so I think if you just look at, well, the weekly chart first, it's kind of telling a story that it's just stuck in that range. And it's kind of good to see it stay above that cloud. And I think as long as it stays above the cloud, it has the opportunity to eventually, in this week or the week after or whenever, to just break above the 235.59 resistance and then continue higher into the 250s and above. And on the daily chart here, it's also looking like there's a possibility to even go back and retest the 223 zone down here, the 50-day moving average, but it already did that yesterday or 2 days ago, and it was riding it before that. So, I mean, the possibility to go back there is still there, but I think also there's a good possibility to just keep going higher as well, because it already kind of flipped it to a support and it already did it 2 days ago. So I think the opportunity to keep going higher really is there and possibly close that daily gap right here.
Yep.
Yeah, right there. And I think that could be the opportunity for today. And that would be in the what? The 230s, high 230s, 237, 238,
Yep.
239. So I could see that being a possibility today. Just keep going up there to fill that gap. And then we'll see the reaction off of it, whether it gets sold off or if it keeps going. So I think I'll be on the lookout for the upside more than the downside today, mainly because it's already been holding this support on the daily chart very well. But of course, they could just put it back down to support if they wanted to, right? And that still is not a bad thing in my eyes. But that's still just a normal back test of support zone to continue higher later. So either way, it's fine with me, but I am more looking for a gap fill up here than anything else for today.
It'd be kind of cool if they actually did start pushing prices down between now and 2, and then just absolutely rip up upwards from 2 o'clock or 2:30,
Yeah,
2:30.
that would be interesting. Let's see. We have a request for pins here. I'll just
See that.
pull that out.
Pinterest. We love Pinterest.
Do we?
Well, not as
I don't know if we do.
no,
But
I
it
mean,
looks like.
not as a stock. I'm sorry. I meant like here at my house. People like to do
Oh,
crafty
you
stuff.
like Pinterest? Okay.
They like Pinterest.
I can see this being a support, though. I can see this zone being support. Just like a previous resistance right here on the weekly chart, breaking out and back testing it. Whether you draw the line a little bit lower down here or higher. Yeah, I can see this as being support. Even though it lost the all of support above, I can see this holding, right? On just on a week-to-week basis. But if it ever does lose this August 5th low, then I think it can go much lower down to the low 20s down here.
Yeah, that looks pretty risky.
Yeah, it looks risky, but it has the potential of being support right here just by the previous resistance flip to support.
Yeah, I'd
So
put a tight stop under the last lowest low. Yeah, right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
You don't want to
underneath that
fall under that.
$27. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it falls under 27, I could easily see low 20s.
Yeah.
Easily, yeah. But yeah, I mean, once it gets back in the cloud, then I'll feel more safe on the weekly chart. But until then, I don't know. It could be anybody's game. But this does look like a perfect resistance flip to support. That's
It
what it looks like
does.
to me. So, I mean, if it holds, that has the opportunity to go back into the 30s, mid 30s, even upper 30s as well. So, could be a good chance. But breaking all the support is a little bit iffy for me. So, I like to see confirmation before I trade. And right now, there is no confirmation. It's just maybe it's a resistance wood to support at the moment, not like a perfect back test. So,
I see a couple of requests from MicroStrategy.
yeah, I see MicroStrategy too, MSTR. So it's down to 129, but I've been saying the whole time I think it's going to go back to touch the cloud before it goes up, just like Bitcoin did, right? Exactly what Bitcoin already did. It already touched the cloud. So it's in the process of that, in my opinion. And I think whether it's this week, that would be 119. If it's next week, that would be, yeah, maybe still 119. If it's the week after, it'd be like around 124, right? So I think that is going to be your ultimate support zone in the one teens and the 120s, right? The low 120s. That's in my opinion. So we're not too far off from there. So it's just basically in that zone. And could it even wick down to the 107 down there, the 50 week? Yeah, that would be a possibility as well too. But this whole zone could be considered like a support zone in my opinion. And it is pretty wide, but that's because it's a volatile stock. And I think nothing exciting is going to happen until it breaks above this 143, maybe even the 150 up here to go to these previous highs up here. So just one step at a time with MSTR, but I still think it's going to be a sideways move until it finds its ultimate support.
If you throw to me, I'll just throw them. They're asking what the support levels were for today. Pivot points traditional. Oh, great, thanks. So here's the daily chart with Ichimoku, uh, and the daily pivot is right here. You can't, it's all covered up with this, but today's pivot point is 132.71. So price will try to get over the top of that and test back to it if it wants to move up. Then it's going to see that resistance at the top of the cloud at 143, and it might test back again. If it wants to go up, the one of the best things you could expect would be 163, but the worst case would be 102.07 coming down to the support one for the daily. I turned also on these Lux Algo block orders, and you can see there's a sell wall, a liquidity wall up here, starting at 182.27, but then there's a buy block down here starting at 120. So there's a lot of orders already set up for buying from 120 all the way down to 103, all the way down to this S1. And this is these orders are all the way selling all the way up into the R2. So maybe somebody's expecting a test of R2 at some point in the next couple of days, a few days. That's what I got for MicroStrategy. So look forward to hang out. It's got to get above the pivot point today. If it wants to go
Yeah,
higher, it'll cross that
but
132.69.
yeah, but it looks like it's all going to be dependent on Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin moves monstrously after the rate cut decision, then that'll probably follow suit, and it won't go to my lower levels that I mentioned. But yeah, Bitcoin's just hovering around 60,000, still looking pretty bullish. So the possibility for it to keep breaking out is there, and it could have a great weekly candle close too if it continues this trend. So, which means MicroStrategy could catch up and flip all those resistances to support too as well. So that is a possibility. Like I'm actually leaning a little bit more bullish than bearish for this rate cut day, simply because a lot of things are looking like the support already held, like MicroStrategy, like Coinbase, like Bitcoin, really, and all the miners are holding well too. The only thing that's kind of at resistance are the indices, really. The
Yeah.
SPY up there, that's pretty close to resistance, but it could easily break out of that and go to all-time highs, you know. So it's just I'm leaning more to optimistic just because things are holding support perfectly. And like even ARKK, that one's holding support perfectly too. It is at a resistance point, but it could even just break above. And I'm going to be watching this one a lot too because I like how it's about to break through the cloud. I like that a lot. And once that weekly cloud gets broken, I think the opportunity to go back into the 50s is really there, especially getting back to these highs in the 51s and 52s and stuff like that. So I think, I think ARKK is one of the ones that could benefit the most from these rate cuts. So I think I'm going to be watching that the most today and the rest of the week.
Very cool. And I'm both short, medium, and long-term bullish as well. I'm just looking for shenanigans today.
Yeah.
For shenanigans to happen that I can take advantage of.
Yeah, if anything goes back really deep and retests a deep support level, then I'll be all over that for sure. And that's actually an exciting thing, not something I fear. And I think like once people have that mentality that dips are exciting and not fearful, I think then people can make a lot more money, because a lot of people are like, oh no, what if it goes lower? I'm like, whoa, what if it goes lower? That's a great thing. That's a great thing, you know. It's just about mindset, really. And I think once people switch their mindset from going back to support is a good thing instead of a bad thing, then people can make a lot more money that way. And I saw on X, somebody didn't put in the chat, but they put in a comment about NVIDIA. So I'll just take a look at NVIDIA here. Nothing is changing at all. It's basically flat pre-market. Daily chart, nothing is changing there either. It's basically right at support, right at support. And it did close a little bit below the cloud yesterday, but that's fine. This whole zone right here is really a support zone from current price all the way down to maybe 108, 109. That is your support zone for NVIDIA. And that's not going to change for a while, right? So, and just proving how this September 6th low held and recovered pretty quickly, it's kind of starting to look like a breakout and a back test of this. So I'm a little bit more optimistic for this one too, going higher and higher towards these upper 120 levels. But still, kind of like MicroStrategy, don't think it's ready to break out yet until it makes a higher high from this 131.26, because it's still just a series of lower highs, and could just be drifting sideways, like I said last night, until it gets to the top of the cloud. So, one of two things has to happen for me to really like it again: either breaking out above 131 or going back and testing the cloud. Either one of those will get me excited about NVIDIA.
Mm-hmm.
You got a chart you want to show, or?
I got the same chart. I don't want to scare people with it, but sure, go ahead and throw it up there. How do I look at this? Usually 4 hours. Oh no, the daily chart, because I'm looking at this simple moving average 200 on the daily chart, and it's making its way up here. I don't think it's been a very, very, very long time since NVIDIA touched the moving average. In fact, it hasn't touched it since it took off, since it broke above the 200 moving average back in January 13th of 2024. We haven't touched the moving average 200 again since then. But if price wants to slow down and let that catch up, I'm watching and seeing what fib levels it passes through. So if we got something just like crazy, a shock to the system, then maybe by October 3rd, the moving average 200 might cross through my 23.6 fib at $96.04. Or if it doesn't get that shock and just keeps going sideways, maybe when when the moving average 200 touches the 382 at 108.68, that would also it could be a touch and go and just like rips up from there. And we saw from the show last night, Kat was showing how sometimes NVIDIA does this thing where it just kind of goes sideways for a little while, and then suddenly it just has a vertical candle that just jumps up a whole bunch. And so if price or ever touch that moving average 200 and wick off of it, I think that could be a big candle up. So I'm looking at any opportunity to buy at 96, which we probably won't get. Otherwise, yeah, now or any touch to 108.68 is also a buy. And if you're just holding, don't let them shake you out. If price drops down to 108 and 96, just keep holding. You'll be fine. It's just going to go up and up and up from here.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've got to like 180 is my extension off of if we got a 1-2 down to 96.04, it goes to 180 off of 108. It goes to like 176 or something. It's just not that different. Still a lot, very close to approaching 200.
All right. So I see more requests here. I'll go over to my screen for PayPal. And yeah, so PayPal, I have this black line drawn. I can put it a little bit lower, I can put it higher, whatever. But essentially, this whole zone right now, from around current price all the way up to maybe 74, even up here to 76, is resistance, right? It's a previous support zone, flipped to resistance, and now it's getting rejected again in that same zone. So that is what I'm really focused on. Yes, this chart is now bullish, officially bullish once again. Finally, after what, 3 years or so,
Yeah.
this chart from the bottom. Never thought I would see it, but it broke through the cloud nicely. Even almost went down to back test the 100 down there, pretty close. It still could be possible to get down there. I wouldn't count it out, but it's got to break above like at least maybe 74, 75 for me to see a continuation. And until then, it's just stuck in this wide range for PayPal, and not sure if it's going to be ready to break out. But once I see like a weekly candle close above this zone, then I think, okay, yeah, it's going to go much higher into the 80s, into the 90s, and maybe even the hundreds above. So the future does look bright, but it just had a nice breakout from the bottom here, from the 50s to the 70s. That's really a good breakout. So just let it cool off a little bit, and I think more consolidation, even if it retests support down here, it's okay, and it'll just be a necessary step to break out of this resistance above.
Just a quick little update. We've got a couple minutes before the market opens, or actually a minute and 30 seconds. And I'm watching the VIX rising steadily. It's at 1826 now. It's higher than my earlier wave one, so it's definitely like in the wave three now, heading for 1886.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, I just people are getting looking for more
What
volatility.
somebody's asking, what is October 3rd for NVIDIA?
It isn't anything other than just when I see the moving average 200 potentially crossing over that fib level, that 23.6 fib level at 9608, or is it
Okay.
9806? I can't remember now.
All right,
Yeah.
and Square is the next one here, and that is pre-market's 6706, so it's basically flat as well. Nice recovery back into the cloud. Nice. It's nice that it's back above the 50-week and the 100-week moving average, but still the week's not over. There's 3 trading days left, including today. So the range is basically still going to be maybe 63 all the way up to maybe 70. So that could be the range. Still could have a lot of volatility today in it, but it's good to see it's holding support. And I think the longer it holds this support week after week, and then the greater the chance of actually breaking through the cloud and staying above to go higher and higher. So we're just going to pay attention to holding at least the support here, maybe the 65.83, and maybe even the 63 level down there. So that's what I'm seeing for Square, or block, I should say.
And ding, 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 the market just opened. We opened the
Yeah.
SPX with a teeny tiny gap up from where we closed yesterday, back
Yeah.
really close to the top of this resistance trend line that I've been tracking on my screen. So we're trading at
Yeah.
56.41.
Yeah. Everything's green. Tesla's up $3, back up to 231. Let's see if it can close
Nice.
that gap today, that daily gap.
That'd be really cool.
Let's see, 230, 237, 239. That's my target for Tesla at least. Let's see if that happens.
Yeah, we're
I
just under the
see.
86% retrace on Tesla at 231.46.
Yeah. There's a lot of resistance up there, that's for sure. A lot. And I see AFRM real quick. I'll go over that. AFRM, yeah, it's really broke out. I think the weekly chart is telling the story right there. How it broke out of the cloud, back tested it twice, and now it's just looking like it wants to break out above still. It had that successful back test, so I can see a continuation up towards the 50s, 51, 52, but this is going to be like the next resistance zone for AFRM to break out above. But I can see after this successful backtest, the possibility to go higher is there. Just got to be a little bit cautious because it is getting kind of extended from the daily chart, which is down at 40.40, the conversion line. So I think there could be a possibility to retest that before it goes higher, but the trend looks like it's still on the higher time frame wants to go higher once it finds its daily support.
Right. And just a reminder, Matt and I are going to do a live show today starting around 2 to cover that FOMC news. And
that is correct. 2 Eastern time.
Yep. I'm going to break away from you here, Matt, and start my own show. Thank you so much for allowing me to guest star in your show again. Then.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. And yeah, I see a request for Palantir here. And Palantir is looking like there is still getting rejected by that 3786, the 36.64. And that is going to be the challenge for the whole week. So I'm looking for daily candles and weekly candles to close above Palantir 786. But so far, it's not doing it, right? It's not doing it at all. And it's still just stuck. So we'll see. And I still think because the 786 is a very powerful resistance zone, I still think it's going to get rejected and possibly come back down to the $33 zone, maybe retest the support before going higher. So that's what I'm thinking with Palantir, because it already had a very, very nice move upwards to that 3660 level. And I think it just needs some time to cool off, right? So even if it does break above a little bit, it still has the possibility of getting rejected a little bit later on. So I'm more leaning to that right now than anything else. Nothing else really matters because it's so far away from all of this weekly support. So I just am focusing on that 786 level right now. And I think we'll just do one final look here because it looks like things are just going to be in a volatile mode until the rate cuts. And as you can see, like things are already going red a little bit. Tesla's going down a little bit as well. Things are just going, it's not really going to matter until the volatility really kicks in around the Fed rate decision. So just pay attention to those levels, and Steve and I will see you guys later.